The Buddha to me is what I like to call a spiritual genius. A man who discovered how to become enlightened through pure effort, willpower, and work ethic. He transcended our basic instincts to self-sabotage and to become addicted to things, and transcended them through literal willpower. And then above all, he lived his whole life, not in the mountains as he became enlightened like most people do, but he decided to work, to give up his comfortable life as a prince and to serve the people, to teach them the Dharma. And even till his death, like I'm gonna talk about, he was still working. Why? Because he had a completely different engine than most people. And this is why, to me, when it comes to work ethic, the Buddha is the epitome of that. And we're gonna find out why today.
By the way, check out my new channel, Professor Alex. It's a channel that I created where I talk about spirituality, self-help, and topics like the ones you see here. It's completely different from the men's channel. So click on that right now, and there you'll be able to get 3 or 4 videos per week that you will never find on this channel. Okay, subscribe right now or else I'm closing it.
Let's begin. All right, the Buddha. Of all the people that has ever lived on this earth, the Buddha to me has to be the one with the most insane work ethic. Like he literally achieved the impossible. Now, before the Buddha, there were thousands of other Buddhas before the Buddha. The only difference is that the Buddha was actually very extroverted and wasn't borderline autistic, because if you become enlightened, one of the things that happen is that you become very introverted. But the Buddha was different. The Buddha worked his whole life. He didn't just stay in the mountaintops like most Buddhas do and stay in nirvana meditating in the mountains. No, the Buddha decided to literally walk upon thousands of miles across his lifetime just to preach the Dharma. And a lot of people don't understand how insane the Buddha's work ethic was from when he was a child up until his death. The death part is actually kind of funny how he died. Like, the dude died working. It's kind of wild. I found this story when I went to the meditation retreats. So I'm gonna tell you that towards the end of the video, okay? So let's begin this, right? The Buddha was born a prince, right? And one of the things about the Buddha is that even as a child, he meditated while his dad worked, right? His dad was the king. But ever since he was a child, the Buddha had an insane level of work ethic. And the reason why that is because in Buddhism, what we believe is that he lived multiple lives. And if you notice, he became enlightened at the age of 36. That's something that takes a long time. What happened was that the Buddha most likely lived thousands of lives before that and built up enough karma to just become enlightened in 6 years of meditation in his last lifetime, right? So the guy was working even in the life before that, all right? So that's one thing, but that doesn't even get to the insane part, right? The thing about the Buddha is what motivated him, and mind you, right, let's write his motivation. I always talk about motivation in this channel. Why? Because you have 2 forms of energy that motivates you. You have the dark energy and you have the light energy. Dark energy is driven by anger, resentment, desire to dominate. Light energy is driven by compassion and a desire to help. The Buddha is the exemplary of light energy. The guy became who he became because one day he walked out of his palace, right? He was walking out of his palace, enjoying the beautiful day, right? And then all of a sudden, oh God, this looks like a fucking something else. All of a sudden, he saw poor people there, and he never seen poor people. And he said that he was filled up with insane compassion, that it inspired him to leave the comforts of being a king and being a prince and potentially being a king one day, right? And so what he did is that he became part of the Samala, something like that. Well, it's a sect it's a spiritual sect that lives in the forest, right? And so the Buddha began living in the forest and meditating amongst them, right? And the thing about him is that one of the things about this sect, I forgot what it's called. They were called ecstatics. Ecstatics, right? And they were a branch of meditation that you stay in the forest and you meditate, but not just meditate, but put yourself in uncomfortable position. They practice body denial. where they put themselves through pain. They would literally meditate in uncomfortable positions. They would meditate through hunger. They would put themselves on hunger fast to feel hunger. They would put themselves to like I think they would call it like just pain trials, where they would meditate in front of the sun, wouldn't drink water for as many days as possible. They would beat their bodies to submission to attain enlightenment. Well, the crazy thing is that the Buddha was doing that for a few months. And people in the ministry started noticing that the Buddha was potentially going to be the one that was actually going to attain the highest level of that spirituality that they've ever experienced. Well, what happened is that the Buddha actually felt unsatisfied. He felt like he couldn't achieve that. They would meditate 12 hours a day, would barely eat. It's to the point that almost all of them were so skinny that you could literally see the bones in their, like you could literally see their bones because they were so freaking skinny, right? And they did that because putting their bodies through trials and suffering intentionally strengthens your meditation practice. And to a certain degree, that's true, right? When I was a Christian, one of the things that we did a lot was literally body denial. I would sleep in what they call in ceniza, where you sleep on the ground as a way to put yourself in an uncomfortable position to increase your spiritual strength. I did that for 3 whole years, didn't sleep in a bed. I completely forgot about that. And I did that because the more uncomfortable you are, the more your brain has to adjust. And that leads to greater mental strength, right? And in this case, just leads to more spiritual strength. And so the Buddha left because he was unsatisfied. Even though he was mastering that meditation style, which is honestly freaking brutal, and he was the hardest worker of them all, he still did it. Right. So he left. And when he left, he felt so unsatisfied with his meditation practice that he said to himself, fuck it. If I don't get up, I'm gonna meditate under this tree. And I am not gonna get up until I become enlightened. Let me tell you something, people. No, not even that. Actually, fuck that. Let me write that down. This is what he said. I won't move, eat, sleep, or get up until I become enlightened. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have no idea how radical that is. You guys have no idea how insane that is. Do you know the level of determination that a human being has to say to themselves, even though I've never attained enlightenment, I will not get up or move until I become enlightened. And so the Buddha did that for 7 days straight. Let me tell you something, man. You guys, if you've never done a meditation retreat, you guys have no idea how radical, how wild that is. That's why I say this guy had the highest level of determination of any human. Because did you know what that... I'm having a hard time putting it into words. That means all of your desires, everything you ever wanted, you're literally saying no to it. And you're literally saying, I'm going to become enlightened. And if I don't become enlightened, I won't move. The Buddha was determined to die without moving, without eating, without sleeping until he became enlightened. Have you ever wanted something that much? Think about that. How much do you want something where you're willing to walk in the realm of the unknown, because nobody has ever done that, without even knowing if it's possible? And he said, I won't move until I become enlightened. Now, mind you, he was doing it in the forest. Now, do you know what that means when you're meditating in the forest? That means roaches. That means flies. Shit is going in your ear. Things are scratching you. Ants are scratching you. And you know what the Buddha said? Fuck those ants. I'm not moving. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, one of the hardest part of doing meditation retreats is that sometimes they don't kill flies. And I remember my first one, I asked my teacher, I was like, yo, teacher, there are some flies and they're flying on my ear. Can I kill them? And she's like, no, Alexis, this is Buddhism. We don't kill. And I'm like, look, man, I know, but I'll take one for the team. I'll take the karma. Let me kill it. I'll come at night. You guys won't notice. And the woman, her name was Maria. She was like, no, Delexis, don't. That's not how we do it. What you have to do is become equanimous, economist, meaning econínimo in Spanish. That when you feel the sensation of discomfort, you relax. And as she was talking, I swear to God, there was a fucking fly flying over her head. Literally walking, not even flying. He wasn't even on normal mode. He was literally flying. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, Maria, that's a fucking fly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And literally another one, and they would fly buzzing her ears and she wouldn't move. She would just look at me smiling. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what you could do if you do this meditation. I was like, yeah, this was a mistake. This is some bullshit. And I remember I killed one. Like I was like, nobody looked, nobody saw. I was like, and it was like shaking. And I was like, right? But that's the thing is that if that's her and she's not the Buddha, and she's able to feel flies buzzing her ear and she doesn't move. That's the shit he did that. He did that in a forest, people. So many distractions. And so to me that, I could see how you say you become enlightened in your apartment because it's dark, no elements, no flies, no creatures that can eat you. How the fuck he didn't get eaten by a tiger is beyond me in India. But to do that in the forest, that's wild, man. Honestly, that's to me, it's just a wild part. Honestly, that's like torture. You imagine somebody puts you in the wild without moving and now all the insects are moving? Think about that. That's wild as shit, right? So he did that for 7 days and became enlightened. After that, he didn't finish. Because what he could have done, he could have gone into the mountains and meditated his whole life and been in blissful nirvana. But he was different. The Buddha, unlike most other Buddhas, like I said, he was actually very extroverted. Most Buddhas don't like being around people, right? So what he did, he started literally traveling across India on foot, not eating. Well, he would eat sometimes, but barely. And he would literally preach all day and night. And not only that, he worked as a judge because people respected his wisdom. So throughout the whole day, he was either meditating, he was either giving lessons on meditation, or he was listening to situations like he's in Caso Cerrado, the Buddha. Imagine that Buddha version, Caso Cerrado. And I'm like, hey, Buddha, look, Buddha. I'm not even going to go there. And he did that all day long. Now, want to know why, people? Well, one of the things about meditation is that when you intentionally don't do nothing, two things happen. One, you have more energy, literally. Like, if you ever, like, the people that I've known that had the most work ethic were meditators. And the reason why I say this is because the ones, the spiritual beings that I've met are people who meditate all day. People, that is insane. It's really difficult to put into words how hard that is. To do nothing. It's such a paradox, right? So when you're able to do that, your work ethic just skyrockets. I swear to God. Like, I remember before doing retreats, I would do like 2 videos per day. At the retreats, I'm capable of doing 8 videos per day. Easy money. I could just do it like that because I have the energy. So he would work all day. And the thing about the Buddha is that when he was working, he was awake, meaning it's very easy that when you get distracted to forget to notice the breath, right? It's like being aware of your shoes all day. You're going to forget the awareness of your shoe because distraction come, right? But what the Buddha does is that throughout all of those distractions, he still was awake. He was still aware of his breath. It's to the point that when he would go to sleep, he wouldn't go to sleep to go to sleep. That wasn't his intention. When the Buddha slept, because he slept around 2 hours a day, and that's actually something that does happen when you meditate, is that when he fell asleep, he wouldn't fall asleep. He would just fall asleep, or he would just lay down, not move, and just notice the breath. Like a fucking zombie. He wouldn't move. And if he fell asleep, he would fall asleep. Right? If he fell into sleep mode, he would. But he wouldn't do it to fall asleep. So even as he was in bed, he was meditating. If he fell asleep meditating. If he waked up, he would wake up meditating. Because this is the thing. To become enlightened takes work. But to stay enlightened takes equal amount of work. Because it's very easy to atrophy back to what you were, right? It's like your teeth. If you get them straightened, it's very easy, if you don't take care of them, to go back to being unstraightened, right? So what the Buddha did, he was awake all day. He was always aware of the breath. When he would go to sleep, he was aware of the breath. When he would wake up, he was aware of the breath. And you might say, how is that possible? Well, put it this way. Don't understand that when you meditate, the sensations of your body intensify. Like, I could, in my body right now, I could feel the vibrations just like, and because of that, I could wake up and literally feel the first thing I feel is the vibration of the body when I wake up in the morning. When I go to sleep, the first thing I feel before I go to sleep is the vibration of the body. It's always consistent, right? But to the Buddha, it was even more intense. It was like times 1,000, times 1,000 on top of that 1,000, right? And so that to me is really a beautiful thing that he never stopped working. And then to his death, this to me I found disrespectful. Okay, so the Buddha was gonna die, and he told his servant, "I'm gonna die." I don't know how the fuck you know that, but he said, "I'm gonna die," and he snitched, told everyone. And right before he was gonna die, there was people waiting in line who wanted to see him. But then he heard a man. He was like, "I know the Buddha's gonna die, but please ask him to preach to me." I'm like, first of all, dude, he's fucking dying. What the fuck is your problem? If I was the Buddha, I'm like, wait, tell this nigga to get the fuck out. I'm dying, right? But not the case with the Buddha. He was dying, and then he heard that. He was like, hey, he told everyone, get out the way, let him come. He wants to learn about the Dharma. And even in his pain and his uncomfortable, because he's dying, he was still preaching to him. You gotta understand, when you do his type of meditation, you don't feel pain. Pain is irrelevant. Like, it really is irrelevant, right? But to the Buddha, he had the presence of mind and the compassion, the light energy to take the time out of his day and listen to what this guy had to say and to literally speak to him in his weakened state. People, to me, this guy is genuinely like the epitome of iron will. I call him a spiritual genius. To me, the Buddha was a spiritual genius. And this is why I believe he is the greatest master of them all when it comes to having intense work ethic. You cannot find me one person who even gets to the level of the Buddha. All right. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully, go check out the book. There's a book called Siddhartha that talks about his life. Go check that out. It's actually really interesting. I haven't finished the book, but yeah, go check that out. And yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye-bye.